Food insecurity and conflict has displaced thousands in Somalia. This comes as the international community ramps up support to prevent the loss of life in the Horn of Africa nation. From Mogadishu, CGTN's Abdulaziz Billow reports now on the country's worsening humanitarian crisis.
50-year-old Amina Abikar is preparing tea for her 2 children inside this displacement camp on the outskirts of Mogadishu. She is among 12 new families that relocated to the city last month. Abikar tells me that she lost 5 children in the Great Famine almost 7 years ago and isn't ready to lose the remaining 2. Instead, she opted to walk all the way to this camp in Mogadishu, hundreds of kilometers away.
I worked in a farm planting crops and cutting grass, but could no longer continue doing that. I've lost 5 children due to malnutrition and conflict. The last one died while we were on our way here. Well-wishers helped me bury him.
Government forces have in recent months increased the ground offensive in rural areas of south-central Somalia, pushing out militant groups from some of these regions. Aid agencies estimate that more than 250,000 people were uprooted from their homes since the beginning of the year, with over 2 million people, or a fifth of the country's population, at risk of starvation.
The latest arrivals are from farming communities along rivers. It's basically conflict and a humanitarian crisis that has forced them out of their homes. I have accommodated them at my home until well-wishers assist them.
A combination of drought, conflict and rising insecurity has displaced more than 250,000 Somalis in the past few months. Majority have been forced to relocate to major cities such as Mogadishu, including this camp known as Hirshabelle, that is now home to more than 500 new displaced persons fleeing conflict from the lower and middle Shabelle regions.
If you take action earlier on predictable problems, you find the solution is cheaper and you have much less suffering. The harvest has been very poor, the main harvest, and I really urge all the donors to build on what's been done over the last few months to ensure that we can keep the humanitarian situation stable and the country doesn't revert to some of the kind of problems we've seen here earlier. That would be a very good value investment to enable all the other positive progress that we're seeing here in Somalia to continue.
6 million people, or half of the country's population, remain food insecure. Farmers and pastoralists are among the hardest hit. Experts now hope that authorities and aid agencies will act on early warnings to avert famine and loss of lives. Abdulaziz, Billow, CGTN, Mogadishu, Somalia.